Timnath, Longmont. How about you, ladies? Broomfield, okay. You live in Boulder, Emma? And how about you? Good to go. Oh, great. Okay, awesome. We're live, I suppose. Yeah. It's happening. Look at this. We did it. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to the Find Your Funds crowdfunding for a project. This is the second workshop out of 3 that are being sponsored by the Colorado Film Office, who generously gave us a grant for some workshops. So we want to say thank you so much to Colorado Film Office for supporting us, and also to Longmont Public Media and Allison Radomski, with Firehouse Filmmakers for helping set up this lovely space for us to hold this workshop. Before we dive in a little too much, how many of you are WIFMCO members? Yeah, a couple of you. So I'll just talk to you a little bit about WIFMCO for like a brief second. Women in Film and Media Colorado, or WIFMCO, our mission is gender parity in film and media through professional development, education, advocacy, and community for women, transgender, and non-binary media makers. We are a 501c3 that was founded in 2016, and we're Colorado's chapter of WIFT US. So we're under the banner of Women in Film and Television US, which is our, I don't know, they oversee us. In Colorado, we have a membership that includes all women, men, non-binary, queer, people of color, all walks of life are welcome and invited to join us, as long as everyone is an ally to our cause and help bring our values to film, television, and media. My name is Elizabeth Mihalich, and I'm the programming chair. So I typically just organize and put on these educational things, but when we've been talking about finding your funds, we did a Find Your Funds for documentary, we did a Find Your Funds for narrative feature films, and I have done, I think like 5 or so crowdfunding campaigns, some personally, and then a couple of them I helped as a crowdfunding consultant. So I thought, well, why not share a little bit of that with you all? So we'll dive in to this. Have any of you crowdfunded before? I'm getting a little bit of a yay or a nay. Okay, great. Perfect. This will be great for you. I'm basically just going to show you what I do when I consult with people and the tools that I use. Like, I did not create a lot of these tools. Some of them I've just adapted from different places, but I will tell you that as we go on. So, this is my name, and those are some of the crowdfunding campaigns that I've had a hand in, and I will we'll go over a lot of those a little bit later. Okay, so these are the platforms that exist for crowdfunding that are the most well-known: Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Seed and Spark, and then now, of course, we have GoFundMe, which I've never used a GoFundMe for film, but I know that there are people out there that are doing it. So here's a little bit about Kickstarter. So Kickstarter is all or nothing. If you don't reach your goal, you don't get any of the money. So you, set, I want to raise $10,000. If you raise $9,999, you don't get your money. At that point, donate $1. I would say, give yourself $1. And then their fees are 5% fee from the funding total if it's successful, and then a 3 to 5% processing fee for each donation. You can set your campaign for anywhere from 1 to 60 days, and they're best known for creative projects like art, music, film, technology. Their success rate is 41.27%. Pulled these off of their website, and they might have updated since then. They have 254,929 projects funded. I believe that is $7,868,813,716 raised on all of their campaigns. Indiegogo, I have ran a few, well, I've been part of one that was a Kickstarter. We'll talk about that a little too. And then I've ran a couple on Indiegogo. So Indiegogo can be all or nothing. You can do flexible funding, and you can keep whatever you raise, or you can run an all or nothing campaign. I don't really know why you would run an all or nothing campaign if you have the option to do flexible funding. Maybe it's like the stress, or like if you feel like it'll push you harder, you could do that. Their fees are 5% overall platform fee. There's a 3% plus 30 cent per credit card transaction fee, and then 3 to 5% for PayPal transactions. You can set your campaign for the same, 1 to 60 days. They do all kinds of things, projects, inventions. They work with many different industries. They're not solely like film or storyteller focused. Neither is Kickstarter. Their success rate, they've since 2008 have helped bring more than 800,000 projects to life. Seed and Spark. So this is a female-ran company. This is Emily Best owns Seed and Spark. This is my preference now when I crowdfund, and so we will talk through a Seed and Spark campaign. So it's all or nothing, yes and no. You have to raise 80% of your goal in order to get greenlit. So if you don't hit 80%, you don't get anything. But it's not 100% that you have to raise. They have 0 platform fees. They do have payment processing fees, 30 cents plus 2.9% of each pledge. You can set your campaign for 30 days, 45 days, or 60 days. And then this is best for filmmakers and storytellers. This is what they focus on. That's their strength. And they get a lot of support from, like, Mark Duplass is really active on Seed and Spark. There's a lot of like filmmaker incentives. If you get enough followers to follow your campaign, you can be eligible for all these extra perks, which is very cool. Their success rate is 82%. Success rate, 58,124,797 raised, with 4,690 projects completed. It's a lot of money for only 4,690 projects. And then I included this quote from Emily Best, who's the founder and CEO of Seed and Spark, because I liked it. Storytelling can change the world. When everyone can see themselves reflected in the stories we share, we empower all people to take part in shaping how we see our past, our present, and our future. And then GoFundMe, I just kind of looked up on their website. You just keep everything you raise on GoFundMe. There's a 5% fee for each donation and a 3% processing fee. And then it's open-ended, right? GoFundMes go on until you end them, I think. They are typically used for emergencies, charities, health-related things, but you can use them for anything, and I do know there are some filmmakers out there using it, and they have a 50% success rate. Super great. Not bad. Okay. Any questions about the types of crowdfunding? Oh, yes. Yeah, so the question is, do I have a reason why I choose Seed and Spark? Well, it's a female-ran company. I really like Emily Best and the values that she holds as the company. And so I try to support things like that I can when I can. And then I also think that there's value in the fact that it is a filmmaker and storyteller based. And then you'll see through this process we walk through, they have a very extensive process to set up your crowdfunding campaign to make it the most successful. So I think it's the most helpful. Did you have a question? No, that was just 50% success on the GoFundMe for all of their campaigns. I just looked up on their website. Well, anything else before we move on? All right, where to start? So you have to know your why, know your budgets, and know what you need. So if you know your why, you can figure out how much you need to raise. Like, what do you want to do with the film? Is this a calling card for you as a director? Is this something fun you want to make with your friends? Is this just a story you have to get out of you, but you don't really care what you do? You're going to put it on YouTube. All of those things are going to affect your budget and what you want to put into it. And then you want to think about, like, where are we going to show it? Is it going to be shown at film festivals? Are we trying to get into like high-level festivals? Because unfortunately now with film festivals, you're competing with, like, I don't know, like celebrities that like have a lot of money and can afford to pump tons and tons of money into their film. So their production value is super high. And if you go to film festivals now, like most of the films that are in a film festival, the production value is like very, very high. So if you want this to be your calling card as a director or say this is a concept short or the pitch like video or concept video for a feature that you're going to use to raise funds, you need it to look as best as you can and present it in the most professional way that you can, so that like people will look at that and be like, oh, I believe that this person can make a movie, or they can direct my television show. So I always ask people like, know your why. Whereas like if it's like something you want to make with your friends, maybe you need $5,000. You know, you don't need a whole bunch of money. It can also help inform your campaign, find the audience, and then resonate with supporters. So how much do you need for the shoot? Can you raise the full amount, or maybe you can split it into 2 campaigns? Maybe you run a production campaign, and then later down the road, you run a post-production campaign. You have assets to show people that you can utilize to show them like, hey, look what we did, so they know they're investing in something of quality. Does that make sense? Well, what do you guys think is a going budget for shorts, or like, what would you anticipate? Yeah. 15,000 to 18,000 for how long of a short? For a short film in a festival can be up to 40 minutes and qualify as a short. I wouldn't recommend it. Like for programming, 7 to 10 minutes is your sweet spot for them to program. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. How many shoot days? Well, night shoots. Boy. Um, I'll show you. I'll show you some budgets. Oh, maybe not. Just kidding. Yeah. So when I made this budget for my friend's short, I made 3 different budgets, right? I made a dream budget, a realistic budget, and a shoestring budget. This was a 4-day shoot, and it was in 2016, so maybe it would cost a little bit more now. So this realistic budget is $36,275. And if you look at it, none of the actors are getting paid. Everything's deferred. And then the dream budget was 53,636. Yeah, all the actors are getting paid. Everyone got a little bit of a higher rate. We had a little more money to spend on camera rentals. And then you got a shoestring budget. This one I think I said was 24,593. And that's everybody working. So actors are being deferred, and then everybody's making $154 a day, which I think in 2016 in Los Angeles, that would have counted as like minimum wage. So I, like through my experience, when I was doing them a lot, I was saying like, it's about $10,000 at shoot day. If you want to pay people like a fair wage, like rent good equipment, have maybe some locations that cost you some money. There are definitely exceptions. I worked on a short film, my friend Brandon, who has a strange magic to like make things happen. But it was like a 7-day short film shoot, and we had like $20,000. It was crazy. But he somehow pulled it off. Like he would be like, oh, we're gonna do it at this location. I'd be like, there's no way, Brandon. And then he'd call me and be like, I did it, I got it. I was like, cool. So some people have that kind of magic, or drive, or I don't know. And then the last thing, get comfortable asking for money. So this is really, really hard, but it's necessary. And if you can't ask for help, or you can't ask for money, or both, you will not succeed. You'll be super uncomfortable in this process. And like, you know, I'm also all about energy and woo-woo things, and like, you're throwing up blocks to the universe the whole time. Like, I want money, but I don't want it. You know, it's just gonna make it really hard. So, cool. Any questions? Yeah. I know. I was trying to repeat the question. That's all right. Here, we have a microphone runner.
All right. Essentially, what you were 2016 numbers.
It was a
So-
short I made. Yeah, I guess 2018 we made that short.
2018. So basically,
Good idea.
Okay.
I invite you to project.
I can repeat too. Yeah. I mean, I think it depends too, because you are in Colorado and there is like a hungry filmmaker crowd here. Some people will work for because they just want to help you make your film. Minimum wage, it kind of depends per city, but like a 12-hour day, like I don't know the exact math, but like PAs, I try not to pay under $225 a day. So like you could do that. You know, like that lowest one was like $154 a day. I've also worked on projects where they're like everybody across the board made $100 a day. And that was the deal. And everyone, it's not minimum wage, it's not really legal, but it was like a bunch of friends that came through that wanted to help, you know? And also he stacked the crew on that one particularly. Like we had massive camera team and a ton of production people because I think it was like, oh, well, if we're all gonna make $100 a day, at least there's like a bunch of people to do the work as opposed to like one person killing themselves for $100. So anything's possible, really. It just depends what you want to do. Yeah. I'd say, well, if it was 10,000, then maybe 12,000 a day. But and that counts post and stuff like that too. Like just sort of, I just always average it out a little. But yeah. Okay. So one thing, I just took a UCLA extension class about marketing and distribution for the independent filmmaker. And one thing that I learned a lot about was that marketing starts like in the writing process almost, and you should start all of that stuff before. So I started to think about doing this for crowdfunding campaigns. It's not something I've put into practice yet, but the idea of building an audience for your project before your campaign. So you're gonna start your social media accounts, you're gonna start gathering followers and interacting with them before you begin. So that like, maybe it's a very stylized horror film. So you start posting really stylized tonal images from other movies that you like or something like that, something that can engage people, get them talking, get them interested. Because when you do a Seed and Spark campaign, they ask you about what your reach is and your potential supporters that you have access to. How many people are you gonna be able to ask to support your film? And then if you start these accounts before your campaign, you already have this head start, you already have people engaged, as opposed to being like, well, personally, I have like, I don't know, 1,300 followers, but I just started the film count, we have like 4 followers now. And then our DP has this many, like the best thing you can do to like support yourself and get that going, would be great. And then I thought, how fun would it be if you could build buzz and interest in this project before you even start your campaign? You know, can you find a way to create a viral video that like gets people interested? Or like post, like I said, post images in the tone of the film, engage the community. So that's something new that like I'm starting to think about. I might start working on a short with a friend of mine, and I mentioned that to them before, you know, maybe we can get this rolling prior. I have no idea how to make a viral video, or I would have one. But, you know, all you creative filmmaker brains together might be like, oh, this will be fun. Or, you know, if you're a niche like queer horror film or something like that, there's definitely that audience there. You just got to figure out how to tap into them so they can start being interested in you. You can do that as a filmmaker too, or as a writer, get people invested in your career by trying to get them to be your followers and get them interested in you. I mean, can be a pain in the butt, right? Like social media, but like, I have to do it now. Make sense? Okay, so if we are gonna run a Seed and Spark campaign, this is what I would do with people that I'm consulting or helping to run a campaign. So this is not even the actual campaign. This is gonna be 5 weeks out before we even start the campaign. This is what we're gonna prep. So in week 1, this is what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna use one of the films that I helped was a producer on and helped them raise money. So these are the basics that you need to know for a Seed and Spark campaign. The log line, in this case, this is a kidnapped man and woman call into their throuple therapy group for help, only to have their plight mistaken for a role play exercise. Why should you support this project? This is 300 characters, and this is all Seed and Sparks, like rules or I guess requests. It's been a few years. We need a laugh, a big inclusive laugh. Jack and Jill is a comedic thriller with heart told through the modern world of relationships. Whether we're part of a twosome, a threesome, or anysome, we're all just out here doing our best to find love in a dangerous world. They also ask you for a mission statement of your project. That could include who you are as an artist or an organization, what type of art you want to create, how the backgrounds and identities of you and your team informs your point of view, why this art matters, and why someone should support you. So this one is, our film brings together many different types of people, ethnicities, orientations, and identities, so we can all laugh through our discomfort. Let everyone be imperfect. Let's see a wide spectrum of characters where each one makes you laugh in their own way, and that's a party you don't want to miss. Something fun, right? Yeah. You'll have your team members, like who's already on board, the director, the DP. Do you have actors already on board? The more people you can get involved, the better. Like if you can get your actors asking for money, you can get your DPs asking for support. You can also do the thing where for an associate producer credit, like you give someone an associate producer credit and they reach out to their networks and they have to bring in a certain amount of money in order to get that credit. But now you have their reach helping you too. That can be very helpful. And then you're gonna gather that info, name, position, short bio, a photo, and an email address, because you'll need it to make them team members on Seed and Spark. And then you're gonna begin to formulate your messaging ask. And this is where it gets a little nebulous. So your messaging ask and identifying your audience, this has always been a little weird or nebulous, kind of a harder thing for me. So I found this really great article on Seed and Spark. I did not write this. This Bree Castellini, who runs their fundraising and crowdfunding department on Seed and Spark, wrote this. So it's a fun, like how criminal psychology can help you build an audience. So it's basically like taking a criminal profiling and using it for your film, which I thought was fun. So we'll just talk through it a little bit. So step one, profiling your inputs. What are the genres and the subgenres that describe your work? Example, is it a horror with a subgenre of monster movies? What are the unique traits of the team and the talent? Is anyone on the team currently or in the future, like a writer-director's a queer woman? Anything like that. We have a lot of POC talent, someone with a disability. What are the unique key traits of the characters in your film? Central Latinx, female, blue-collar workers, etc. And then unique elements, like a specific setting like rural Colorado, common themes, romance, mental health, road trips, stylistic quirk, like found footage or practical effects. Step two, constructing a decision process model. What existing works exist in the model that you're similar to yours? Similar characters. What creators make similar work to what you're looking to do? You got to do your research. So where do these fandoms or the artists or the works seem to congregate? If it seems like there is a congregation, then look deeper. You're doing like a criminal profile. Don't forget, you're sussing them out. What are the most active and who has the most members? Like just because a fan book group exists on Facebook doesn't mean it's being actively used. Could be dormant, lying, for a long time. Where does it seem like most of their marketing materials are posted? Is it social media focused? Are they broadcast? Are they print outlets? If you're aiming for a much more senior audience who's used to cable television, you're maybe not going to lean on TikTok. Like that's not going to be that audience, right? What's the tone or tenor of their marketing materials? Are they ironic or straightforward? People first or effects world first? And is the messaging clear or mysterious? Did these similar projects crowdfund or implement like a subscription-based financial model? Were they successful? What kinds of content do they post? And then what seems to be most popular in terms of their offering? Make sense? Step three, how does your intended audience behave? How have they connected to existing works in their audience? Are they organized or disorganized? This is really fascinating. So an organized audience likes structure and familiarity. So they're the ones that want to see things that are polished, that have predictability. They like Reddit or Boing Boing to dissect and discuss and break down things that they like. And they don't respond well to irony or tricks. Like high quality assets and like a clear call to action. And then you get someone they respect and then follow to recommend your project, they're in. That's cool. A disorganized audience prefers a more inventive approach. And they are going to be like innovation, intrigue, irony. They like Twitter and Tumblr. They do like tongue-in-cheek and fun marketing. And they want to solve problems themselves or engage with the project through a variety of mediums like a podcast. Maybe if you have that disorganized audience, you're going to try to hit them from a bunch of different sides, right? You're going to do a podcast or maybe some TikTok, or I'll send them on like a scavenger hunt. And then a combination of the two feels more swayed by the content instead of the approach. So they respond to credibility, curation, and context. They like order and chaos and use curators or social media influencers to recommend them things. So then in that case, you want to find those tastemakers, get them to recommend your project, and then that audience will follow you. Cool, huh? This Bree girl's real smart. Again, I did not write this. I don't want to take credit for this. But I really enjoyed it when I read it. Step 4, criminal and audience profile. So then you ask your friends that you think will fit what you're trying to raise money for, which project. You're going to get specific, align your profiles with the kind of person with what kind of person will most enjoy that evidence from step 1. Then you're going to find their base identity, age, gender, all of that good stuff. What do they do? What stage are they in life? Where do they work? Where do they get educated? Where do they play? What do they like? How do they like it? Like, what do they watch? What do they read? What do they listen to? And what do they spend? For one piece of media, like, what would you pay for a movie? What are you going to pay for a book? Or for lots of media, or a single creator? Are they supporting Patreon creators? How much do they support and why? What are those people creating that you can do to get them into your project? And then step 5, your investigation. Then you know all the different ways your project or body of work can be described. So you know how similar works have connected with audiences. You know how your audience prefers to be approached, and you know who they are. So then you do research with those clear sets of terms of like, listen, find the podcasts, the websites, the journalists that can be related to your theme, your genre, or the characters, and then look for local press or organizations that would help you. Facebook groups, Tumblr blogs, subreddits, Twitter hashtags, so many things. And then influencers who speak to your themes, your genres, and your demographics. And then step 6, we apprehend the criminal, or we engage with our audience. Find the communities, ask them questions, learn what they're looking for, start building that email list, engage with them, but don't promote, and then join them, don't spam them, you know? So it's kind of like networking in general with film. Like, you meet somebody that's at a high level that you know that can maybe help you. You don't want to just go, hi, what can you give me? You know, you're going to maybe foster that relationship. I mean, it's like all friendships too, right? You don't want to just be like, oh, hey, oh, hi, Katrina, read my script. You know, maybe you'll have coffee with Katrina and go talk to her for a little bit, or I might slide into your DMs. You never know. Oh, does that make sense, guys? Kind of a fun way to look at how to find an audience. And it's super hard, but like, I think if you do all of these things prior to your project, it'll make the rest of it so much easier. Because you're not just like throwing spaghetti against the wall. You're like feeding someone gnocchi. That was the dumbest joke I've ever made. Okay. Who doesn't love pasta flavored jokes? Okay, Seed and Spark week 2. So we've done all of those things working together in week 1. Now for our week 2 prep, this is what we're going to do. Now we're going to build our campaign. So our task for week 2, if I'm working with you, I'm going to assign you to do these things. You're going to look at the results from that message testing that we just did, where we found that audience. We're going to use it to identify the tone of our campaign. We're running that organized campaign or like a higher level campaign. We're not going to set our tone at irony and tongue-in-cheek or funny. We're going to maybe take a slightly more serious tone. Then once you do identify it, you come up with a message, you test it with 5 people. You try 5 different messages about your campaign on your friends and colleagues, and then 5 different images. Maybe you post them and then see what people respond to, what they click on. It's all like a little bit of a research. Then you're gonna post images and articles that inspire and interest you so that you can engage in that audience in conversation and continue to build that network. Your team members, we're gonna gather all that information that I'd asked you for before, like bios, headshots, all of that, so that we have it when we're ready to build our campaign. And then begin to formulate your messaging ask after we've done all the testing. Now we know where we're going. We're gonna develop our concept and write a script for our crowdfunding video. We're gonna reach out to talent for our video, schedule our shoot days, shoot our concept video, develop incentives, and we'll talk about them in a minute. And then we're gonna go into our Seed and Spark and complete all of the information they ask for. Info, bios, etc. All the stuff we've been talking about, essentially. That make sense? Cool. Okay. So, making a great campaign video. So this is also from Seed and Spark. Their website is full of tools for you to use, like so much stuff. So there's a 90 to 120 second template. 15 seconds should be stuff you're excited about. Your tone matches your project. If it's funny, if it's a comedy, scary, if it's a horror, and then you get a sense of the visual style and the tone. 45 seconds to 1:10, introduce yourself and the team. Why are you making this movie? Why are you the people that should make this film? And build your trust by like letting them see you, like in front of the camera actually, and like who you are, you know, vulnerably as a creator. 1:10 to 1:30, what's in it for us? What do they get? Incentives, why should they be involved? What will we do with their pledge? Or, you know, they can join instead of donating. They can help spread the word if they don't have money. And then at 1:30, you should do closing time, a call to action that should include your social media and campaign URLs, maybe close with some more footage. So we'll watch some of, these are Seed and Spark's favorite pitch videos. So this one I think is super funny.
Diplomacy. But in the ashes of World War III, women rose to restore peace. And thus began the Ovolution, where women went to work and men were domesticated.
Come on, everybody, let's clean up the house.
Let's go! Why we here at Steinem's Grooming School for Husbands want to celebrate the brave women who saved our lives, saving you 20% off first dates. We at Steinem's take pride in our 99% rate and grooming the most educated, compassionate future mates. Our new and improved testosterone pill decreases aggression and unwanted fertility. So visit Steinem's Grooming School for Husbands today, because it's our world now.
Jackie, that was perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Nora Talbot, writer-director of the short film Gen XX, a sci-fi, or should I say, dramedy about a near-future world where women now run shit. Think a reverse tale, but funny and, like, not filled with torture. Now is where I'm going to tell you a line you'll probably tune out for, because this is where people stop watching fundraising videos. Ben, assist. So, the heart of the story is a will they or won't they romance. Roxanne is a workaholic candidate currently running for Senate, but she's losing because focus group says she appears cold to her opponent, a maternal family woman who loves her wife and kids. Desperate to change her image, Roxanne is at Steinem's Grooming School for Husbands. Instant husband means instant family, right? But when she gets there, she's surprised when her match Adam breaks protocol and starts expressing how he really feels. Whew, that was a lot.
Wait, we can ourselves?
No. Now, getting to create a world run by women on film is incredibly exciting, but it also, you know, costs money, and that's where I need your help. Grand finale time, boys.
Girls, we run
All the money will be used to pay crew, acquire the location, some sick visual and practical effects. So please, follow, share this video, and give if you can. And I promise you, I am not making this film just to shoot a pitch video where I have male friends to dance and wait on me. Sandwich. Well, this is good, guys.
Hey, Nora, can we go home now?
The second part of this video is you two cleaning my house. Company move. Chop, chop.
Yeah, that one was super fun. And I can also show you guys the one that we've been talking about, that we've been building, like I've been showing you. This is the video that what we created for, at the time this was called Jack and Jill Really Downhill.
Ow. Let me ask you something. What do you think's easier to get out of? The trunk of a moving vehicle? Or a combustive relationship?
It's a great story. It's relatable. It's got a lot of heart.
Two people of very different mentalities get thrown into an extremely high pressure situation.
It's super jam-packed with action and sort of envelope-pushing comedy.
Along was so witty and funny and quick.
Really fun film to watch with your friends, with your family.
We have this couple, Cam and Sloan, who find themselves kidnapped and tied up in the back of a moving car. And they take this moment to kind of take stock of what went wrong in their relationship. With no one else to turn to, they called their group therapy session. But it's not just a regular couples therapy group, it's actually for polyamorous couples. And it happens to be role play night.
The arguments that are ones that we've all had in our own relationships. So it feels very real to me, even though the stakes are so high and the scenarios are at times pretty extreme and ridiculous.
How far would you go to keep it fresh, to keep that spark? That is a challenge for every type of relationship. Gay, straight, bi.
Open, closed, monogamous, polyamorous, pansexual.
They're all linked by this one very common human need, which is to love and be loved and to have a sense of belonging. You can have a lot of fun showcasing different kinds of people. Exactly what we want to do.
I'm excited to see it. Well, we gotta shoot it. Oh, that's where you come in.
If you join us in this adventure, pledge your support.
Join us. Pledge your support.
Your support, and we'll make it together.
You know when people say, like, no amount is too small? We actually mean that.
For the record, I'm not taking a dime of this. This is to pay the actors, to pay the crew.
Don't you want to laugh?
We have location fees, we have camera rental kits, lighting kits.
Don't you want to invest in something that'll make you smile?
Hair and makeup, we need food. You never want a hungry crew.
We're not eating filet mignon on this set, believe me. It's like granola bars, and not like the good ones.
We're putting this out into the world, and we would love to have you be a part of it.
Thanks, and we really hope you'll join us on the journey trunk of a car.
There we go. So two pretty different videos, but both also super fun. Any questions about that? Or yeah. Oh, like that trunk thing? He just got into a trunk and like did it. That was the director writer, so he just did that himself. And then yeah, that other one we watched, you know, they like set up like a mock scene in front of that green screen and had her do it. So you can if you have the money. But it's just about getting creative, you know? And, you know, you saw the tones of both of them, like that really witty, funny comedy in the first one. And then you get a little bit of the, like, not horror, but thriller in the Jack and Jill Really Went Downhill, which we changed the name to Our Language is Chaos later. Okay, moving on. So designing incentives that work. So incentives are going to be things that you give away or for different levels of support. You only really need 7 to 10 per your campaign, and then you're going to kind of hold some of them back later in the campaign that you could release as like limited incentive offerings. So like say week 3, you go, this week only, if you give us $50, you get this perk or you get this incentive, but it's only available if you do it this week. That can sometimes drive people to donate or contribute. And usually it's best to do incentives that are digital and have no physical offering. T-shirts, posters, all those things you have to pay for. And then you have to order them, you have to get them, you have to ship them. So you're spending a lot of the money that you raised on your campaign for those incentives. So it's best to kind of stay away from them unless you have like a hookup or like your uncle owns a t-shirt shop or something. So your base one's gonna be like a $10 contribution, and it's a social media shout out and a thank you in the credits, like your name in the credits. And then every person that gives $10, you have to do a social media shout out. Yeah. A bakery that gives donations? Oh yeah. It might be something you could do, yeah, like as a limited one, like maybe for 3 or 4 days. And they'd have to be local, and they'd have to go pick it up maybe. But yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I think you're right. And that's like the fun thing about being creative about crowdfunding is you can come up with something like that that maybe like raises you so much money. That would be awesome. $20, usually a digital link to watch the finished product. So once it's done and it's ran its like course on the festival circuit, you'll send a link for them to watch it. $30, you could do like a digital copy of the script and a link of the film. $50, like a digital play box. We did that for Jack and Jill. That is like a Dropbox link or a Google link that has some like storyboard art in it. It has some behind the scene photos. It's got digital posters. Maybe that script is in there. And then you kind of build on these, right? So then that $50 level is also going to get the link to the movie once it's released. You kind of like just keep adding on. And then everyone gets their name in the credits and probably a social media shout out. Like this one for $100, we did a Zoom call with either the director or the producer, like a 30-minute Zoom call if you want to have a chat with the director to ask them anything that you want. And then those you usually want to limit to like 5 or something so that your director's not having to do like 50 Zoom calls. They probably would because that would be a lot of money. But, you know, and then like $500 on that on-set VIP experience. You get to be on set for the shoot. They can eat craft services. They can maybe call action for the director. Does not include travel and lodging. Make sure you specify that. You don't want to pay for that. Unless you like have a buddy pass or something that you can fly someone on. And then, you know, these higher levels, $1,000, $2,500, and $5,000, you can give people credits like associate producer, co-producer, and executive producer. And some people will donate. I had people that would donated, I think $2,500 to a short because they just wanted like a co-producer credit on their IMDb page. So that was a way for them to get it. Cool. Make sense? I'm going to show you too. We'll look at these incentives. So on Seed and Spark, the incentives are on the side over here. So they're slightly interested. So this one we ran at 15, slightly interested. And then I got to include like a graphic here. And then what does it include? A social media shout out. And then we got a little creative with the names of them, like Scream My Name. This is a personalized cash shout out on social media. And then a digital copy of the film for 25. Love Therapy. Adam Kolberish played that character. Answers love queries. So we sold 1 of 10 of those. Playfully Interested, that's that Playtime box of digital awesomeness. There's like a little digital download, copy of the script, written in the stars, clairvoyant reading with me. I think I still owe that person a clairvoyant reading. We did this, Looking for a Third, a cameo in a video with our stars. We sold out of that one. And then this is where those 30-minute Zooms. So we had a few more than like 7 to 10, but we added some during the campaign, which is why there's a couple more. Like, so we released them. His wife is an artist, so it was like you could get a personal serenade from her, printed storyboards, personalized thank you. Sold 5 of those, and those were $250. Good amount. $500. This is that on-set VIP experience. We sold 1 of those. Dip It in My Toe, associate producer, $1,000. 2 people donated at that level. And then co-producer, $2,500. We had 1 person. I don't think we had a $5,000 one. Yeah, we did not. $6,000. Those are where the incentives live on Seed and Spark. Yeah, once you put them all in. And then on Kickstarter, same thing. They're on the side here. Very similar. That's a different one. Okay. Moving on. JK. Okay. So the story section, that's going to be the next part. So in this section, we're going to talk about, they call it the cold open on Seed and Spark. Like, what makes the story interesting? What's the most important part or interesting thing about your campaign? Section 2 is going to be the 4 W's, the why me, why this, why now, why you. I'll show you all that on the campaign in a moment too. And then context. Where are you in the process? Is this a production campaign? Is this a post-production campaign? How is this crowdfunding campaign going to move it forward? What's your plan? Are you going to festivals? What do you want to do with it? And then you can list potential challenges or the stretch goals. And then Seed and Spark recommends using like a balance of text and images, headers, which I'll show you, any BTS video or pics, any lookbooks, inspos, cast photos, branded graphics. So for instance, on Our Language is Chaos. Okay, so your mission statement you plug in, and that plugs in automatically there. But this is the story section we were just talking about. So see these little headers, like the quick take? I created those, and then you just input them as like an image, and then it's like kind of the little synopsis, like what is it? Betrayal, kidnapping, box cutters, Ain't Love Grand. We got some images here of like a couple all filling out this synopsis. And we got another little header where you got your director's note where he's talking about what it is and why. Here's your characters. These are the characters in the film. Like, who are they? What are they up to? Those are the actors playing them. And then if you didn't, like, we didn't have them there, casting underway. I acted in this too. That's my throuple. It was really fun. Our journey ahead. Like, so what is this to us, you know? This is kind of like that stuff that we talked about where we were creating it earlier, like at the very top where we were looking at the stuff that we filled out to fill this out. And here, whoa, sorry. Like, we're committed to paying our cast and crew. We want professional results. We pay professional fees. So we don't want to ask for favors. That's why we're asking to raise money. We have to implement SAG mandated COVID protocols. So this happened during the end of SAG or end of COVID. And then if we do meet our fundraising goal, we'll move on to stretch goals. And then that would have been renting extra cameras to cut down our shoot time, sound budget, increasing the number of festivals we can go to. We did not get a stretch goal. And then if you donated at a higher level of 25, we would invite you to participate in our test audience where you can look and watch a screening of it and then tell us what you think. So that's the little story section. And then on Kickstarter, they do it similarly. And then that's when my friend Shane actually hired like one of the best known Kickstarter guys to like run this campaign. And so this is how he set up their story. So he also has these little like breaks, right? These little headlines and then storyboards, Shane and why he's making this film. And then who's making it? This is Shane, the writer-director. Who is he? What's he been in? Who is part of the team? My line produced it. These are all the producers. And he had, so this is one of those projects, like see all these associate producers? These are all people that helped push this campaign. All of those people. And this campaign raised to like $53,000, which we'll talk about why too later. But that's kind of the Kickstarter setup. Okay. Any questions about story section or like all of that? No? Great. Okay, wish list. So Seed and Spark, instead of you just putting out like, oh, we want $25,000 for our film, they have a thing called the wish list, which makes it easier to build the amount of money that you need and explain the money. So, for instance, no thank you. This is the wish list. So when you fill out the wish list on Seed and Spark, you say like, oh, so pre-production, we think it's going to cost us $2,000. And then you kind of write a little thing about what it is. And then shooting labor, we need $7,000 for a 3-day shoot. Locations, we need $750. $1,000 for crafty and lunch, art and wardrobe, camera rental, costs. And so Seed and Spark, you put in all these different numbers, and then that's how you land on your number that you're asking for. So I just always sort of know where we're aiming and then adjust accordingly. And then people could go to this page and make a pledge directly to like the talent costs or directly to production supplies if they don't want to. They also have this option to loan you an item. So say like instead of purchasing $400, someone's going to loan us these. You know, I've actually never had that happen on like a crowdfunding campaign where someone's like, oh, I'll just loan you cameras. But it's cool that they have that option. Then people don't have to give you money if they don't necessarily have it. And then on like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, they don't do that. You just kind of come up with your own amount. I don't know what that is. I have a Mac. I'm used to this. And then like on Kickstarter, you're going to want to explain what all the money is going to. Like Indiegogo or Kickstarter, because they don't have the wish list like Seed and Spark does. You'll explain what you want your money to go to, and then there's usually like they recommend you building like a chart that's like, oh, 67% of this is going to production. We need 12% for pre-production, post, festival, contingency, and then Kickstarter, so that people know what your money is going towards. Okay, so that's the difference between those two. Okay, any questions about that? Exciting stuff. Okay, so week 3. In our week 3 together, this is what we're going to do now. We're going to submit our campaign to Seed and Spark for review. We've now filled the whole thing out. We submit it for review. So Seed and Spark does a review process, which can be a little bit tedious and laborious, but it's very helpful. And it helps you succeed a little bit more. So we're going to do that. We're going to start posting on Instagram, Twitter, social media, prepping our audience. But because this is an older thing, remember, we already started doing that before we did our project. So we're continue doing that. We're going to develop email templates that we're going to use to talk and send out to people. Instagram posts, set up mailing lists, receive feedback from Seed and Spark, and then we'll make adjustments to our campaign. And then identifying potential partnerships. Are there organizations that maybe are interested in partnering with you? Can you reach out to them? Any social media influencers that'll help spread the word? Reach out and make the ask. So like, for instance, that cookie, that Kickstarter campaign we were just looking at was about a film about a person with spasmodic dysphonia, which my friend Shane has. It's not something that I knew about before we even made the film. It's like a neurological condition that takes like your voice away. Really fascinating. And he reached out to the Spasmodic Dysphonia Association, and they got behind the project. And that was the number one reason that we raised such a significant amount of money, is because all of those people in the community that had spasmodic dysphonia have never seen themselves represented in a film, and they all donated or they all spread the word, and they were all so grateful to like Shane for putting it out there. So that's kind of a partnership. Okay, and let me show you. Oh, I think that's on the next. Okay, so week 4. Getting close to our launch. Okay, we're going to update and edit our campaign with the feedback from Seed and Spark. So I'm going to show you, gotta log in again, what it looks like. Maybe not. There we go. This is what it looks like on the back end of Seed and Spark when you're running a campaign. So this is what you will have. So here's the campaign feedback. So we submitted on September 14th. We got our feedback on September 17th. Pretty quick. Usually it's within a week. This was pretty fast. Okay, so here's our feedback. We really like your project. Make sure you do it. According to the information, you want to raise $35,850. Is that correct? The average raise on Seed and Spark is $12,000, and under other platforms, it's $10,000. So we did lower ours for this. We lowered it to $20,650 instead of $35,000. So they suggested lowering that. Your social media following and email list would have to be exceptionally large to raise that amount of money. Fair? Please submit an outreach strategy to me, which may include but certainly isn't limited to our outreach plans. So they're saying, like, prove to us that you have enough people in your network to raise $35,000, and we'll let your campaign go forward. That's how they have that high success rate, right? Because they're like, hey, let's be real about this. And smart, I think. And then before you launch, you got to do your Stripe payment, blah, blah. And then let's see what else. Pitch video. This is stellar. Love the opening. Love the weave and the visual evidence. The final slate, that there was like that thing at the end that popped up that said follow us. We did not have that on our video initially with all of our socials, and so they recommended we add that. Incentives, they had us adjust a couple of them. Having too many incentives around the same level. I think we had a bunch, so we like kind of edited them out. Apparently we had 17 incentives. We got really excited. We should hold back. And so she says 5 to 7 incentives to start. I said 7 to 10. And then they have, like I said, on Seed and Spark, they have all of these things. So there's a post about how you lay them out, live stream you can watch, how to craft great $25 incentives, why merch and in real life incentives aren't popular, and then all that stuff. So they give you all of that. You have to be like, oh, I read this. I made the changes. And then they wanted us to tweak our statement a bit. And then our story is a good start. This is where I pulled that information that I had in my slideshow. So we had to change a few things, add more pictures, a little more like pitch deck examples. And then if you haven't done our crowdfunding, I'd already done all of that. I read that, and then you go, okay, we submit it again. And then she was like, no, JK, you're not ready yet. And then we had to fix this one last thing. I like the subheadings. Let's get other visuals in the mix. Oh. So what we were looking at prior, like the page I showed you, is the culmination of all of these notes and all these feedbacks. So it can be a little laborious to do Seed and Spark, but I do think it helps you be very successful in your campaign. So that is what feedback looks like. Oops. Okay. Now we're going to formulate outreach emails. Same. This is all tips I got from Seed and Spark and all things that I've put into practice. You're going to use smart small talk. You're going to lead with a personal comment for people that you know well, remind them how you met them. You're not going to send bulk email messages. Every single day of the campaign, you're going to email personally 5 to 10 to 15 people, an individual email. So that's what these outreach emails and these templates are good for. This is that thing where it's like, you got to be okay asking for money. Got to be okay reaching out to people. And like, I ran a campaign once where I reached out to a bunch of different people. No, I don't even know if at that point I was individually emailing, but like a girl that was a friend of one of my college roommates donated $500. I hadn't seen her since college. And I was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Thank you. So I also try to look at this step as like a chance to reconnect with people in your life that you haven't talked to in a long time, which is why you want to do this first thing where you do that small talk where you make a personal connection of like, I haven't seen you since college. What's going on? I'd love to hear from you, even if you don't donate. Kind of a fun thing. You get to reconnect with a lot of people. Okay, thesis statement. What info do they need to act? Project, what's your role? What's in it for us? Incentives. Give them a way out. You can ask them to share instead of pledging money, or if there's anything on your wish list that they have that they can loan you, and then you sign off strong. And then we already did we're still identifying partnerships this week. We're going to resubmit to Seed and Spark and then send pre-campaign emails. So here are, like when I did this for people, this is the campaign template emails that I would send to the whole crew or whoever's part of it. I was like, okay, here is this template email, everything highlighted in yellow, you need to change and make it personal. So every single person that gets an email, it's like, hi, Katrina. And then it's been so long since I've seen you at the filmmaker meetup. How are you? What's going on? This is what's happening in my life. Ask about their new baby, their new job, something you saw on their Instagram, something that they know you're emailing them personally, right? It's not a blanket email. And then I'm reaching out because I'm one of the producers and actors, change to your role, of this funny upcoming short film, the hilarious romp with the characters kidnapped and locked in a trunk and their polyamorous therapy group. We're about to start crowdfunding, so this is our pre-launch email. Like, we want to get some people interested pre-launch. You're part of the group of people I'm reaching out to before our crowdfunding campaign because I'd really love for you to be involved. And then feel free to expound on past creative projects, their thoughtful posts, any reason why you picked them as part of the pre-launch group. Once it's live, we have some really fun rewards and incentives. And then I say you can tailor this section, like only pick like 3 of these incentives that are your favorite, delete the rest. Just send them the ones that you really like or that you think are cool, or like maybe like a $15, a $50, and maybe a $500. Or, if you know they have a little more money or they're maybe a little more interested in the bigger ones, you can leave those. And then you put them all there. So only send 3 or 4. And then the reason I'm reaching out is we need your support to start a lot of momentum. Seed and Spark says most campaigns raise 30% of their goal in the first 3 days. Ooh. And then would you be willing to pledge a level of support to me? And then once it's live, go in and make that support. Reply, let me know how you want to get involved. And then there's that out here. Don't worry, I'll send you a reminder. And then if you want to be involved but you don't have money, we get it. Can you? Pandemic, am I right? There are other ways you can help. Follow us on Seed and Spark. Like I mentioned, Seed and Spark has these different, if you get 250 followers, you unlock some discounts that are really helpful. And then if you get more followers, there's all these like other things. And then you can ask them to share on social media. You pre-write like a share for them with hashtags and everything in it. And then here's the wish list. If you have something you can donate, check that out. And then sign off strong. The final word of passion so they know how important it is. Thank you so much. And then you're going to end it with follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and the page on Facebook. Cool? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so yes. No, yeah. So if you have a campaign on Seed and Spark, you wouldn't also then be like, oh, donate at this link on Instagram. Everything you would push them to is that Seed and Spark because you got to get to that 80% green light. I mean, unless you're running like a GoFundMe or something, and then but I don't know, you might as well put all your efforts into one thing. Yeah, I would not, unless like at the end you decide you want to like continue it and like decide to be like, oh, here's a PayPal in case you missed it. The deadline. Question? Oh. What is the percentage that's donated from friends and family as opposed to just for interest on Seed and Spark? Possibly. I know that, I think I have it in here somewhere, there's a 30% what's that called when it turns into a donation? Like 30% of people that you individually email will donate, compared to like 1 to 2% on social media. Like the what's that called? Business term. Convert. Yeah, maybe convert. I think I have it listed in here somewhere. But it depends, friends and family. I mean, I think that's why most crowdfunding is friend and family raising, right? Funding. Unless you build that audience prior where you already have them invested in what you're going to make. Or you have some celebrities, you know, like I've seen people, some friends in LA that had been on a hit show, and then like they got a couple of the actors to donate some stuff, or like a Zoom call with this famous actor, and then it was being directed by one of the other famous actors in the movie, in the TV series, and so then they raised like 60 grand because they had that level of audience. But that's like that audience, like that's what that reach is, right? So if you know a lot of famous people, get in there. Okay, week 5. This is the week before we launch. So we're gonna have an all hands on deck Zoom meeting with everybody that's gonna be involved in the campaign. I'm gonna explain to you my expectations for everybody during the campaign. And at this point, you've set this up with them, right? Like, and you know, it can be a little nebulous sometimes of like, I just got cast in this. I don't want to have to ask for money. So you can, as a director or producer, be like, we love your support. It's not required. But if you do want to play with us, here's what we would ask, you know? So then they don't feel like they have to. But a lot of people really want to. Personal emails to 5 to 10 people every day. You're going to post on social media a lot. Those feeds move quickly. Like, so even if you feel like, oh my God, I'm posting like 4 or 5 times a day, doesn't matter. It's moving. People probably aren't seeing all of them, especially on like Instagram, maybe Facebook a little less, but like just moves. So they want you to raise 30% in the first week. So our goal was $20,075. That's what we lowered it to after they were like, $35,000. And so our goal is to raise $6,225 in the first week or 3 days, they really say. So then we created a calendar of a special incentive kind of launch, what our email plan was, and then get your woo-woo and spiritual things in alignment. Check back in. Are you still feeling okay about asking for money? How are we doing there? And then emails. Day 1, you're going to send 20 to 50 emails to people that you are most confident will contribute. This can be just you. This can be your whole team. If your whole team will send each person 20 emails, it's a lot of people. Then you're going to take time zones into account, send emails when people get to work or right after dinner so they can read it and act ASAP. You can schedule emails now. So you could draft them all the night before and schedule them to go out at a certain time. Super helpful. Do not BCC. You're sending individual emails. Oh yeah, here it is. Emails convert 20 to 30% into pledges, whereas social media shares convert only 1%. Right? Interesting. Because it's that personal touch. You ask them personally, right? Okay, launch day. Woo! We're going to launch the campaign. What do we do during the campaign? Okay, so we got emails. We're going to stagger our outreach, sending 5 to 25 emails a day or every few days throughout the campaign. You're going to follow up no more than 2 times. And then you're going to do like a final 10-day countdown email. You're going to do a last 3 days email. You're working with me, and you've hired me to be your consultant. This is what you're going to get. They're templates. And then I send these out based on the campaign. Too much talking. So I have an email for that pre-launch we looked at. Template for following up to people that you've already sent an email to. We got a template for the last 10 days. We got a template for the last 3 days. And then this was a different campaign that I just put into this same folder. It's a lot of work, right? Intense. But, you know, you can make it easy like this for yourself. Updates. You'll send updates sparingly, but regularly to make sure we have people something to say and keep people invested. So, for instance, on Seed and Spark, and Kickstarter and Indiegogo, you can send updates. So these were updates. I think Corey took these down. So this was new poster, new title, new movie. This was after we finished the movie. Post-production. So these are all updates that he sent for the audience after we filmed. Let's see if we can find. So here's from production when we were filming. There's me and my throuple. Aren't we cute? And then, like, during the campaign, Corey, the director, would send, like, thank you videos to everybody. Or he'd make these videos that he would post on here as an update and be like, thank you so much. This is what we raised. That's what we are. So those are updates. You don't want to send too many, but you want to keep people interested. And then, like, on Seed and Spark, with your followers, go back up here. So those people that you asked to follow you. So this project had 157 followers and 102 supporters. So 157 people were following us, and of those followers, probably 102 supported, or maybe a little bit of both. But every time you do an update, all of your followers get those updates. So then you're like, oh, shoot, 3 more days to, or if you're like, we only need $600 more to get our green light, you can send that through that update feature. Let's look at Kickstarter. Also have updates here. So Shane, same thing. And then once it was released, Cookies on Omeletto now, which was awesome to get on Omeletto, which is like a YouTube thing. They have a huge following. Then we got into some festivals. So those are our premieres. Teaser trailer. The private test screenings, official poster. That's a wrap. Oh boy, what's that? Ooh. Exciting. All right, we get the idea, right? Those are updates. Okay. Okay. All right. Events. You're going to plan special events throughout the campaign. Maybe you want to do a Zoom table read. Like, so, oh, on the 3rd Friday of the campaign, we're having a Zoom table read. Anyone who's donated at this level gets to participate in the Zoom table read. You can do Instagram lives, Facebook lives, and then milestone celebrations. You know, when you hit that 30% goal in 1 week, you want to tell everybody. Add that to your emails, post it on social, text your friends, anything to get people interested, keep them interested. Special incentives we talked about, releasing new ones throughout, or a limited time incentive. And then sometimes you can find a matching contributor where it's like, oh, if we raise $1,000 this week, this person's going to match it and give us $1,000. We've had that happen a couple of times. And we got to do it within a certain amount of days. Then they double their investment if they invest in that time period. Cool. Any questions about any of that? Anything that we've covered, really? Yeah. So, like, say someone comes in as a $6,000 executive producer. Yeah, let's see what we listed on this one for that incentive. You just want to be very clear about what it is. And then, I mean, honestly, if someone's like, I'll give you $10,000, but I want to look at the edit, make that choice, right? Yeah, I might take that. So this one says executive producer credit, bragging rights to the max. You'll be looking good on IMDb, in the credits of the film, and on any first date. You'll be invited to set, get to action, eat all the craft services, and as an added bonus, you get all the previous perks. And then we made sure to travel, not included, lodging not provided. COVID regulations will be enforced, and shoot dates subject to change. So here it's essentially a vanity title. Emma? Can you explain it a little? So you're saying, what if someone's already given you $1,000 and then
Hi. So my question is, if you are like asking people to come and work on your project, but you're still fundraising, and you're not quite, you want the film, of course, to happen, but of course, you have to meet that amount in order to make that film happen. How do you convince people to come work on your project before you've met that amount?
Well, I think it's based on, like, say if it's like a DP, if it's a script that they're interested in or something that they want to do and they really click with you as a director, you might get them to come on. I think like maybe a sound mixer or somebody like that, unless they're your friend, may not come on until you have the money. And you can also just be like really like upfront with them and honest and be like, hey, I have this amount of money. I'm going to start a crowdfunding campaign. I'd love for you to be a part of it. Can I list you as a member of the team on my crowdfunding campaign? And then your team's even more filled out. And then it gives you a little more credibility as people are looking at it and you're like, oh, okay, look, she has almost all of her crews in place. So there are people willing to put their name behind this project before she even has money. Does that make sense? Yeah. But I know when it's like reaching out to people that you don't really know, you might have to wait until you have shoot dates and money, Yeah. Allison, did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question that was posed in the live stream chat. In any case, this is a question that's going back more in the presentation, and it's about budgets. And I think the question was whether the budget you showed earlier was for a union shoot or a non-union shoot, and how much you can save by being non-union.
How much can you save by? So that budget was a SAG shoot, but non-union crew. So most every short I've done has had a SAG contract, because SAG, their short project agreements, you can defer pay on all of them for the short project agreements. So every short we did, we would defer the pay according to SAG, and then on the day pay people a little bit of money, like $100 or something. But then the deal is if you sell it, then you will have to go back and pay your SAG actors. Mostly because you'll see on some of the campaigns I'm going to show you, a lot of our actors already were in SAG. I'm a SAG actor. I've been in SAG since 2007. So I, as a producer, feel like I should do everything in my power to make my shoots a SAG shoot. Because that's sort of, I don't know, counterintuitive for me to not. So I think that was half union, half non-union. But I would encourage everybody to try to do SAG, because especially with short projects, if you're not making a feature, it's fully worth it because you can defer pay and you get a higher level of talent. And sometimes when you're running on a really low budget and only have a couple of days, but you're shooting like the 18 pages in 2 days and you have all this dialogue and super hard action, and like you're going to want that level of an actor. And also sometimes that person can pull in more money. Like, oh, Dee Wallace is in this movie. Like, I love her. She's the mom from E.T. Like, I'm going to donate to this. Or also, horror fans are very committed to all of their people. They will do lots of things. Any other questions? Yeah.
In your experience, like, which social media platform do you think has the most traction for things like this? And then I've seen stuff like this on like Instagram and Facebook, but is it like socially acceptable to post on like LinkedIn even?
Yeah, I think it would be. I would post a little more professionally on LinkedIn. You know, I wouldn't do maybe like some tongue-in-cheek or funnier things or like racier stuff. I would keep it professional. But there is a ton of producers on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is like an underutilized asset for filmmakers. And about 10 years ago, I was using it and I fell off and I should get back on myself, but I was like reaching out to producers and executive producers and financiers. And then, you know, at that time, like people would be like, oh yeah, sure, I'm really interested. Send me your script. And I would be like, oh no, like what if they steal it? But now I feel like somebody told me once, like no one's going to write exactly the way that you do. And like, whatever, who cares? Anyway, point being, I had some investors that were like, yeah, send me that. Or like, here's an NDA, sign this. And, you know, I dropped the ball at that point in time, but I do think it's an underutilized resource for finding people. So I would highly recommend using LinkedIn. As far as Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, I ran a campaign with someone, we'll talk about it in a second, that had, during pandemic, they had a huge TikTok following come into their lives. Like millions of views and like likes and a very active community that was interacting with them. And it didn't convert. Like they thought for sure all of these millions of people would donate because everyone had been so active and interacting with them. And like, it was like a female production house that they started this TikTok for, and they had a lot of engagement, and it just didn't happen. So I don't know. Because think like Instagram's hard because you have to do link in bio, right? Or I guess you could do it on the swipe up now on stories. You can put links. Facebook maybe because your grandma, your aunts are on there.
Because everything that's on TikTok just ends up in all the other social media platform anyways. If you do already have some sort of video or already some sort of, reel that maybe you have, putting that on TikTok first can sometimes be helpful because, again, it recycles on all the other social media apps anyways. So, yeah, that can sometimes help. And also, just everything starts on TikTok, technically. Not everything, but a lot of things, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely post the videos, right? Share the video, do the ask, do the Instagram campaign, do all the things, but know that the majority of your contributions are going to come from those individual emails probably. But if you get those people, or you have a TikTok go viral, then you have 1 million people watching your video, like maybe 10% of them are like, oh, what's this? That's a lot of people, right? What's 10% of 1 million? A lot. Any other questions? Okay. Almost done. Okay, so these are campaigns that I've ran. We'll talk about the successes and failures. So it happened again last night. This was a post-production campaign. So our goal was $5,000. We raised $73.85. In like the first week, we hit our goal and got to do some stretch goals. There were 60 people that backed this campaign, and so the average donation was like $123. It was pretty good. Why did I think it was successful? It was a post-production campaign. We had footage to show what we made, and we had solid, recognizable actors. This is Sydney Sweeney in one of her first projects before she was Sydney Sweeney. And then I'll show you. We can watch the trailer, but this is this one we ran on Indiegogo, and then we had all of these beautiful also. So we had a BTS video of the shoot, and then we had, we'll show the trailer in 1 second, all these really great BTS photos of actors and things happening. We had Chris Mulkey in this video, Amanda Weiss, who's a big horror star. Sydney was in this. This is Gabrielle, the writer, director, actor. And then her co-star, Alex Lynn Ward. So these kind of things can really help. And this is our DP, cinematographer, Jason Crothers, who at the time was the DP of Chicago Fire. So all of these things are lending credibility to it, right? Like this is a post campaign, so people are like, oh, I'll give money to finish this because look at what they've already done, right? I'll show you this trailer.
The only pain that really exists is the pain you bring upon yourself. There's always a choice.
You're lying to me now?
Paige, he is going to kill you. Do you hear me?
I'm so sorry. This is bullshit. Just
Pick up your phone. Fucking call me, you bitch.
Don't ever let
I'm so
anyone take
tired of
that
this
from
bullshit. Love you, Paige. I hate you, Paige. Hope you never come home.
There's always a choice.
Hope you never come home. Where is he?
Don't ever let anyone take that from you.
Stop! I'm not going anywhere. Smile, babe. Fuck you, Paige. Hope you never come home. I'm so tired of this bullshit.
That one. This is another one we ran on Indiegogo. Babs and Maria go to therapy. We raised, our goal was 5,000, raised 5,076, 141 backers. Average raised here was $36 per person. So a lot more people donating it smaller. Why was it successful? Genre specific. Showed their personalities. This is Babs and Maria. They're twins. They're beloved by everyone they meet. They're so funny. And then it was a low attainable goal. And that was like a one-day shoot where we made a web series that I think our episodes are like maybe 2 minutes long. And then this is, so we didn't look at an Indiegogo yet. So this is what an Indiegogo looks like, where there's the story, and then same thing, your perks, there's our perks and incentives are on the side, like explaining why, what we're doing, what we need, what we get, and then listing our team. As the director, I produced it. There's Maria created it and wrote it, and then it also starred Babs, very funny Nick Bush as their therapist. That's what an Indiegogo looks like. And this one, this is why I talk about getting comfortable asking for money. So this filmmaker, we went through the whole process, all 5 weeks, setting everything up. We launched the campaign, and a weekend he was like, I can't do this. I'm so uncomfortable asking for money. I can't do it. So we canceled the campaign, and then I luckily was able to email in Seed and Spark and say like, hey, we need to like cancel this. Is there a way to like stop it? Because I didn't want it to be on my page as like a failure too. And they canceled it and turned it back into a draft. So, you know, we spent 5 weeks prepping it, and then he lost a little bit of money paying me too. I didn't charge him the whole thing, but I was like, you're going to pay me at least this amount of money. So that's why I say, like, you know, get right spiritually and be okay asking for help. I think he did end up making it too. Kudos to him, like with friends and favors and things, and that was a more comfortable route for him. So I just saved a little bit of time. And then this is that one, Cookie. So this goal was $40,000. We raised $51,077, 475 backers here. And each person, like average was $107. This is the one that was the Spasmodic Dysphonia Association got behind it and giving voice to that underserved community. And then it was authentic to the director and the writer, so people really connected to Shane because he has spasmodic dysphonia. I'll just show you a little bit of his video because you can see how he integrated.
Hey guys, my name is Shane Hartline, and I have a neurological condition called spasmodic dysphonia. Though I have a very mild case, I have had this since I was about 5 or 6, and it was pretty heavy back then. I know some of you are probably asking, Shane, what is spasmodic dysphonia?
I'm Dorothy Tannehill-Moran. I have spasmodic dysphonia.
I'm Irina, and I have spasmodic dysphonia.
Hello, I'm Bettina Devon. I'm currently an actress, no longer a singer, because I have spasmodic dysphonia.
I'm Sue Payne, and I have spasmodic dysphonia.
I'm Audra, and I have spasmodic dysphonia.
That is exactly why I'm making this. If you have seen the new horror film made by Jordan Peele, Us, the lead actress Lupita Nyong'o, she had a really interesting character voice for the horror version of her character.
Well, I was inspired by the condition spasmodic dysphonia, which is a condition that comes about from a trauma, sometimes emotional, sometimes physical, and it creates this spasming in your vocal cords that leads to, you know, an irregular flow of air.
Growing up was it was a struggle. You know, I had the total package. I was a heavy kid, freckles with a goofy voice, and mixed that in with an undeniable passion for acting and storytelling, a path that your voice is your tool. A few months ago, I decided to start writing my story through the voice of another character in a short film called Cookie. It follows the life of a woman named Gabby who has a severe case of spasmodic dysphonia. This will be the first film that will spotlight somebody with SD. This is going to show the pain, the struggle, the frustration that we deal with on a daily basis. This film is so important to me. SD really needs this kind of awareness. The people that suffer from it, truly suffer from it, they deserve to have their story told. And it needs to be done, and it needs to be done right. But we can't do this without your help. You know, we've come up with a budget that will cover everything from start to finish, and that includes the cast, the crew, the filmmakers, absolutely everything. And I'll be taking no compensation for this project, and this is to ensure that we make the best film possible.
That one, highly successful. And then we got stretch goals, right? So we got to film this really cool diner where they filmed Grease 2. And because we made this extra money, you know, it was like, what can we put towards this? So it was really helpful. And then this is one called Happy Place. This is the TikTok girls that I was talking about. There was little to no action from them. They didn't do a whole bunch of the tasks that I gave them. And we didn't make it, unfortunately. They had 45 backers, averaging 212. I mean, they had one TikTok fan that gave $5,000. So it converted a little bit, but the million didn't show up to what we thought it was going to be, which was interesting. And then this is the one that we were looking at, $20,750 was our goal. We raised $20,000 with 102 backers, and then the average of $196. That one, I think it was successful. It had the entire team pushing it, actors, producers, directors. Everyone was super active. Consistent messaging, following up with emails, text, and calls. Everyone was on it for this one. So that one was also successful. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
With the TikTok, is it just not capable of converting to like target specifically or as easily? Because could have they done like the direct email marketing type thing?
If I had to guess why TikTok doesn't convert, it's just because you're constantly like scrolling. I mean, they do now have a TikTok shop, but we have a TikTok expert, I guess.
I'm not a TikTok expert. I'm just Gen Z. I would say a part of it is like it's just tricky. I think social media is like, it's very how do I say this? Like it's just about like, well, is your audience, you know, going to be the audience for this film too? I think that can be one thing. I also think that your attention spans, kind of like what you were saying, are very short. I also think the other thing is, well, are you going to individually reach out to your audience that you already have on TikTok? Like, do you already have a newsletter or something? You could kind of like, you know, individually go in and then reach out to the people who you think would engage with it. Because I think there are different ways to go about it. I think social media can be helpful, but you kind of have to stretch out a bit more with what you already kind of have. And it's different, I think, for everyone. Like, there are some people who, like, again, depends on how many followers they have, who can do it and just use social media, but that's a lot more difficult than I think people realize that it is, depending, of course, on who you are. But, yeah, I think that it's different, but I think that it really just depends on what you do with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend who is a big TikTok following. She wrote a book, and like her viral videos sell books, so I guess it can convert to that. But I don't know. Maybe it's like a product, right? Having something. You're right. And then lastly, this one is the most recent one we did. It was $5,000. We raised $1,560, 36 backers, $43. We had a limited engagement from everybody. We sort of threw this one together last minute. We did not do the full 5-week prep. It was just sort of because we already knew it was going to be a day and a half shoot. We had everybody was working already for free and like as favors that just wanted to help out. So we didn't have a lot of like urgency to make the film, but we were able to spend raise a little money to like put people in a hotel near the shoot so that we weren't driving like late at night, and feed people and do some rentals. But so slightly successful, but it was Indiegogo, so it was a flexible campaign, so we got the money even though we didn't hit that goal. So it was quicker. That's it. That is all that I have. Do we have any other questions that anyone thought of? Ooh, yep. Allison, hold on.
Okay, investor pitch decks. Yeah, I don't know if you know a lot about those versus doing crowdfunding this way. Obviously, you're approaching more specific people for those, but I'm assuming a lot of the same elements be involved in creating something like that. Sorry.
Yeah. Hmm. I mean, I have some. I'd say investor pitch decks are for features more so than shorts, and crowdfunding is going to be more shorts. Or if you're going to try to raise like development funds for a feature, where you're like, oh, I want to raise $30,000 so that we can pay a writer to write this script, or raise development funds. There is also, oh, that word just left my brain. It's I'm not going to remember it now, but it's basically crowdfunding for features that are, it's equity crowdfunding, which are other websites where you can attract investors, sort of like a crowdfunding, but there's a lot more involved. You have to like do SEC filings and like have business plans and like all of that. That's a next level of in equity crowdfunding. But you don't often see pitch decks for shorts, really, or tone and creativity and stuff like that.
I know you showed a lot of examples, but do you know what the average length of these films that you showed would be?
The finished product. Let's see. This one is about 10 minutes. This one, I want to say about 7 to 10 too. Cookie is closer to 14, 15 minutes. And so Babs and Maria, those were a short web series. And then It Happened Again Last Night, also about 14 minutes, I think. Some of the other ones I've worked on, I have had ones that have been like 20 minutes. I will say the ones that are like 10 minutes get into more festivals. It's easier to program. Festivals want to program as many films as they can into a festival. So they're going to lean more towards those 7 to 10, 5, 7, 10-minute shorts instead of like a 40-minute short. I'd say 20 is max on a short. Maybe once I've seen a very successful 25 to 30-minute short where it was just so well done that like you forgot. Wasp by Andrea Arnold. How long is that? 26? Yeah. Produced one called Breathe. That was like 20 or 21, 22. But it worked. It was pretty good. Yeah. Plus, the longer it is, the more shoot days you probably have, right? Yeah.
For all you watching online, I was just saying that Wasp by Andrea Arnold is 26 minutes long, and it rules. Next question.
My current script that I'm trying to make my film for is probably going to be about 20 minutes. That's in part because it covers some like more historical aspects of certain things. Yeah, no, I do think it's tricky, you know. I played the game of like, okay, what can I take out? Like what's like not necessary? I played that game. And I think, I don't know, I mean, film festivals do tend to accept things that are more shorter. Do you have anything on like trying to get something that is a bit longer into a film festival? Any advice on that?
I mean, I think if you make a good film, it'll get into some festivals, just maybe not as many. How many pages is your script? Okay. You're going to have a tight edit, not a lot of slow visuals or yeah, I mean shoot it, you know, and then you might find in the edit like, oh, this doesn't need to be here. And you might find a way to make it. But it just has to be, I'd say, make it as well made as you can, you know, with your production value super high. I would get really good actors, you know, make it a SAG film so you can attract maybe a little bit of a name actor or, you know. But like I said, it's not impossible. It's just, we'll give you a bigger leg up. Is it a drama? A historical drama? Cool. Modern day, but switching back and forth between hypothetical history, you said. Yeah. Yeah, maybe think of a way that you can showcase that in a different manner, right? So the same filmmaker, Gabrielle, who made It Happen Again last night, we also made a short called After Emma that was like a court case. And as someone was testifying, we would see the flashbacks of what happened. And to differentiate between the two, we shot the current modern day in digital and we shot the flashbacks in 16 millimeter. And so that was like, oh, another thing that like festivals will be like, oh, this is shot on film or partially shot on film. You know, things like that can help you. Allison. Oh, are we, yeah. No, you're good. I think.
One of our online live stream viewers says, what is an ideal campaign length? Does it depend upon the goal? Maybe the assumption there is that if you're asking for more money, you want to have a longer campaign? Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, silent sickies. Anyway.
I think Seed and Spark recommends 30 days. And you can extend to 45. I mean, I think 30 days is probably the best because it gives you a deadline. You know you have this certain amount of time to do it. And then if you've got it in you to run a 60-day campaign, go for it, I guess. But then you're sending those emails every day for 60 days. So it's a ton of work. I also think if you run it longer, people can lose interest, you know, like, and then there's something to be said about like, we only have 5 days left, like getting people to donate of like that, like short period of time. Does that make sense? Any other questions from our online audience? Very funny. Okay. Do you guys have any other questions or comments or? No? Cool. Well, then I think we'll call it. I want to say thank you so much to the Colorado Film Office for providing this grant for everyone to attend this for free and to live stream it. To Allison Radomski and Firehouse Filmmakers for arranging this with Longmont Public Media and all of their volunteers that helped do this tonight. I really super appreciate it. If you're interested in joining Women in Film and Media Colorado, you can check us out at withmco.org. $55 a year or $100 for 2 years. For now, we will be raising our prices a little later in the year. But that's it. Thanks, guys.
I was going to give one final word, which is I run Firehouse Filmmakers, which is a meetup for filmmakers here in the Longmont area. If you're interested, feel free to email me. My email address is hello@sunnypictures.co. That's that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I also am the Northern Colorado Film Region Liaison. And so I'm building a website. So that's what this QR code is if you live up here in Northern Colorado. I might have one more question. Hold for a question. Can you pick up milk on your way home? Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, for coming. And thank you to everyone online. I hope that was helpful. You can reach out to me. Thanks. The end.